Man, this is gonna be like when I first saw Mighty Ducks and I took up hockey the very next week. I just know it. Nah, bet you know I could do that, did you? Alright, welcome to Tait's Take. If you're new here, today we're doing a spoiler-free breakdown of the new A24 movie, Marty Supreme. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular Tait's Takers, look, it appears that they just saved all the 2025 movie heat for the end of the year. Okay, quick background here. Marty Supreme is a new movie from A24 that was directed by Josh Safdie of the Safdie brothers. This is the first movie that the brothers haven't directed together since 2008. Josh co-wrote this thing with his homie Ron Bronstein. If you didn't know, back in 2024, the Safdie brothers said they would no longer be directing movies together. Now, I'm not saying it's beef, I'm just saying what they're saying. If we're being honest, these two are just going in two different directions creatively. It's all good, relax. Anyway, Marty Supreme stars my homie Timothée Chalamet, who plays Marty Mauser, a table tennis player in 1950s New York, just trying to make a name for himself. The movie is based on a real dude named Marty Reisman, who was an infamous table tennis player back in that time. He was born in 1931, right in the Great Depression, and found himself hustling his way through New York City as a teenager by being really fucking good at ping pong. He was known for basically scamming people out of money by pretending to not know how to play. He'd lose a couple games, then double and triple the pot, cook these dudes, and bring home the big bank. It's very much like that pool episode of Fresh Prince when Uncle Phil had to bring out Lucille and bail out Will and Carlton. But y'all don't know nothing about no Fresh Prince or Uncle Phil and Lucille. Anyway, the movie isn't a biopic on the real Marty. It's just loosely based on his life. Josh Safdie grew up a huge table tennis fan. His dad taught him the game, and his uncle actually played at Lawrence's, which was a New York City spot to play at that's featured in the movie. In 2018, Josh's wife bought him a copy of Marty Reisman's autobiography called The Money Player. But she wasn't looking for this book. She was just freaking scrolling through things at a thrift store. Around this same time, Josh was becoming cool with Timothée Chalamet, and right away asked him if he would want to play this character. Timothée, also being a fan of Josh's, said yes, and immediately started taking table tennis lessons that same year. The film wouldn't be announced until July 2024. So yes, for 6 years, Timmy's been working on his ping pong game. Give this man the Oscar. Marty Supreme was filmed from September to December 2024, and at a budget of over $60 million, it's officially A24's most expensive film to date. Money well spent. The film debuted at this year's New York Film Festival as a surprise drop and releases nationwide on Christmas. All right, plot time. Like I said, Marty Supreme tells the story of Marty Mauser, a young ping pong player in 1950s New York. He has an insane drive to be the best, represent the United States, and win the World Table Tennis Championship. But he has almost no means to get there, so he will hustle any and everyone he can with the sole mission of fulfilling his dream. So can he finesse his way all the way to the top and become the champion he thinks he's destined to be? Or will his schemes catch up to him and derail the whole mission? And now we got a movie. So what's my take? For damn near the whole year, the only awards movie I was really fucking with was Sinners. And that shit came out back in April. It wasn't until One Battle After Another came out in September where I was like, all right, we finally cooking with some grease. Throw Marty Supreme in the mix and now I'm conflicted. See what I get? This movie's fucking fire. All right, let's get into it. Starting at the top with New York Knicks royalty, Timothée Chalamet. Now, I've never claimed to be no Oscar expert, but if I was a betting man, I would put all my coins on this dude winning Best Actor for this one. We all remember that infamous speech he gave at the SAG Awards.
I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight.
Marty Supreme is literally that speech in movie form. A man with an insatiable desire to be the best, and one that's willing to do anything he has to get there. Now, of course, in the movie, Marty uses some tactics that perhaps lack some morality, but the sentiment is the same. And that's what Josh Safdie saw in him, just a real desire to win. Besides Timmy, though, there's over 100 freaking roles in this movie with speaking parts. and they're all fire. Let me get into some of the other main cast. We got the icon Gwyneth Paltrow basically out of retirement. She hadn't done a movie in over 7 years. Josh approached her about doing this movie, and she asked her brother, who's also a filmmaker, and he told her, you absolutely have to do this. In the movie, she plays a famous actress named Kate Stone, who's basically given up on her career and taken a backseat to her husband's business. And yes, an actress playing an actress, you could be like, oh, what range? But when you see her in this, you're reminded just why Gwyneth Paltrow is a legend. And speaking of her husband in the movie, that's Milton Rockwell. He's a millionaire, high roller, business socialite, played by Shark Tank's own Kevin O'Leary. Some people call him Mr. Wonderful, just like some people call Twitter X. I'm just not doing it. When I saw he was in this movie, I was like, wait, what? But I can't even be the hater that I want to be, because this role is not so far off from how I find him to actually be. It works. He's never acted before, but if you tell Kevin O'Leary, hey, act like a super rich asshole, I think he can handle that. And speaking of people who haven't acted before, next up, we got Tyler, the Creator, up in here, who plays Marty's friend Wally, who's a taxi driver and also hustles people in ping pong. Tyler's also been a big fan of Josh Safdie's. They actually met one day after one of Tyler's shows in 2017. They agreed that they wanted to work together, and they just kept in touch until they could. Watching Tyler in Marty Supreme, though, you wouldn't really believe that he's never acted before. And I know, yes, he's an artist, and he's like a Tyler, the Creator artist, so it doesn't seem so far off to envision this, but film is still different, and I thought he was very impressive. Then we got Marty's love interest, Rachel, who's played by Odessa Zion. Now, you may not know her, but you should. I discovered her watching Grand Army on Netflix, fire show, by the way. She's also the daughter of Pamela Adlon, who, besides being the voice of Bobby on King of the Hill, more importantly, she was the voice of Ashley Spinelli on Recess. So as far as I'm concerned, she is royalty. Anyway, Odessa as Rachel is great. She's got her own complicated story, and that's largely because she's trying to weave herself into Marty's craziness. But she's also maybe the only person he can't hustle. I'm telling you, everybody in this movie is excellent. The casting director is a woman named Jennifer Venditti. She's worked with Josh before on Uncut Gems. She cast for a whole bunch of stuff. She even got an Emmy nomination for casting Euphoria. You can just tell that Josh and Jennifer are working with people that they want to work with. You're getting interesting people, interesting faces, professionals and non-professionals. The main cast is all elite. But for the supporting cast, sometimes you're watching this and you're like, I'm sorry, was that? I'll give you a quick example. Earlier in the video, I mentioned a place called Lawrence's that's highlighted in the movie. And it was a real place. I told you, Josh's uncle used to play ping pong there. It was also the first business in the Times Square area that was black owned. It was on 55th and Broadway, and the owner was a dude named Herwald Lawrence. And do you want to guess where Herwald was born? No, just take a second. Freaking Barbados. I'm always going to take a second to call out the Bajan Massive. What a nice little nugget there. I don't be finding all the nuggets, but this was my favorite nugget of the whole video. My bad. The point I was trying to make was they went out and cast George freaking Gervin, the Iceman, to play Lawrence. He doesn't act. Josh just said every time he's around him, he has such warm energy, and he knew he wanted him in the movie. What? Bro, Tracy McGrady is in this movie. Kemba Walker is in this movie. That's just for my hoopers. Everyone you meet on this roller coaster is so interesting. And that's honestly the best way I could describe this movie. It's a roller coaster. And at almost 2.5 hours runtime, you almost never feel like you get off of it. Of course, we've come to expect this sort of thing from a Safdie movie, especially after something like Uncut Gem, which a lot of people will compare this movie to, and rightfully so. I've never in all my life felt as anxious as I felt watching a movie while watching Uncut Gems. I would say Marty Supreme is a lighter version of that. I don't think I ever felt that Adam Sandler's character was in control of the chaos. For some reason, watching Marty, no matter how crazy things got, I just expected him to figure it out. This movie is also super New York, which I'm always going to be partial to. I think generally people will enjoy this movie. But if you're from New York, if you live in New York, this is something extra. And even though the movie is so New York, we're literally traveling the world with Marty. In New York, the table tennis world is full of misfits. They're playing in Lawrence's smoking, drinking, gambling. You kind of have to leave the country to find this glitz and glam that Marty is so eagerly hunting, because it's the other countries that hold their table tennis players in such a high regard. And he's trying to be the face of this sport for America. I like this quote here that says how Marty represents the confidence, cockiness, and ambition that America expressed in the post-war years. But the road to Marty's dreams, like the country he comes from, is paved with self-delusion, and the journey that unfolds is funny, messy, and unpredictable. All right, last thing I'll say is that as a sports movie, they put a lot of care into representing the game of table tennis accurately. And that makes sense. I told you Josh has been a fan of the game his whole life. I also mentioned how Tim was training in the sport since 2018. Then got coaching from Diego Schaff and Wei Wang. Wei Wang was a freaking Olympian. These are also the go-to Hollywood trainers for ping pong. They did freaking Forrest Gump. Besides Timothée Chalamet and Tyler, the Creator, everyone in this movie playing table tennis was a real table tennis player. We like that. Now, I know my intro was extremely impressive, but believe it or not, I don't play or watch that much table tennis, but hopefully for that community, they can watch this and see that it wasn't taken lightly. But yeah, man, I hope this movie does well. I hope people go see it, and I hope they go see it in the theaters. Darius Kanji was the cinematographer here. They also worked together on Uncut Gems. So much of the magic in the movie is how they visually captured the chaos, and it looks great. Darius shot Marty Supreme on 35mm using Aeroflex cameras and vintage anamorphic lenses. Translation, it looks fire, and when they display it in 70mm, it just makes for a much more immersive and bigger scale experience. If you live in New York or Los Angeles, they actually have some 70mm screenings coming to theaters in the next couple of weeks, starting on December 18th. The wide release of the movie is Christmas Day. After the nationwide Christmas release, they're gonna add some more 70mm screenings in select cities. The moral of the story, go to the movies and watch Marty Supreme. As always, thanks for checking out Tate's Take. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. In the comments, let me know what you think about Marty Supreme. Did you know it was based on a real dude? Did you think that the year 2025 was kind of lacking in quality movies? What do you think is your favorite movie so far in 2025? Did you know I was so nice at freaking ping pong? Did you freaking know that? There's no way. Let me get out of your hair. Thanks for the time. Peace. Okay, first of all, don't be a hater, because I'm nice. And don't think I did like a whole bunch of takes and I'm going to just drop some bloopers at the end of the video showing you how I was messing up for so long. Not going to happen, man. This is going to be like when I first saw Mighty Ducks. Fuck. And I took up hockey the very next week. I just know. Hey. Hey, man. Fuck. And you remember when you used to do it? Oh, I'm tweaking.